Hi.
Hi, how you doing, Dog?
Good, Dog Chapman. Aloha.
Bob
How are you
Lehman.
doing?
Nice to meet you,
Bob,
my friend.
nice to meet you. So right now we're talking about the rehabs, and
Right.
of course, I want to say the reason why we are is we've both been a century in criminal justice system rehab, blah 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 blah.
Absolutely.
So right now in America, the Democrats, I think, just won. And one of the things Biden said is he doesn't like bail bondsmen.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't like the fact of the criminal justice system and the way it is.
Right.
And what they do like, and a lot of people are getting closer to, is rehabilitation centers.
Sure.
Now, in other words, you get arrested for heroin in a lot of states, it's legal.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of putting you in jail, they send you to a rehab.
Correct.
Now, if you go to the rehab and then you go back to dope, then you're going to jail.
Yeah, that's
Right?
usually the way.
Right. So you're pass and go. You're skipping that hellhole jail, but you got to go to rehab. Okay.
Right.
So rehab gives you the power to say no. Can I say that? Is that right?
Sure.
It gives you the excuse to how do you get out of a situation. And it works. I mean, 80% of people that go to rehab never go back, or they 25% become counselors.
Sure.
Right?
There's quite a few.
So it's something that really works in America today, and we've learned it from other companies, is rehabilitation.
Right.
So that's why, my main goal is to get the guy fixed, and so is yours,
Sure,
or
absolutely.
the girl fixed. And of course, make a profit because, even Jesus had a treasure. So I think that everybody, we feel good when we see, our personalities, you and I, or we see someone, we say, oh, I feel so sorry for them. And then we send them to a rehab, your rehab, and they get fixed. That's a reflection of you and I.
Correct.
And that really is one of the things that make you and I, our personalities, happy.
Right.
So, and I'm doing all the talking bit, and I know you're
It's
Italian,
okay.
so I'm just taking it quick because he's going to
That's
get me.
okay.
So, I'd like to ask some questions
Sure.
for the listeners
Sure.
and for my own mind.
Sure.
So, how many years have you been doing the
Well, I've
rehabilitation?
been doing this for about 25 years, but interestingly enough, when I first started my career out, I was a juvenile parole officer.
Oh, were you?
And so I work with bail bondsmen. I work with, and I've always had a tremendous respect for the law enforcement and people in that doing that thing. And it's come a long way. Our industry has come a long way, just like
Yes.
bail bondsmen. And the whole idea is people, I think, get the misperception. Your job, bail bondsman's job, my job is to save a life.
Right.
And that's what we do together, and we move forward in doing that. And that's I think we do pretty successfully.
Yes. So 25 years you've done this? Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm not the first responder. I'm the last responder.
Understood.
Okay?
Yes.
So I try to follow, to see what the guy does when he goes to rehab, and I don't hear from him for a year. And most of the time they call me and they're doing good.
Yep.
So what is your recidivist, which means, coming back again? How many people come back again or fail completely after? What's your average?
Well, the national average is around somewhere between 65 and 70% stay in recovery and stay
in
successful.
recovery.
And stay successful. Our facility, is a beautiful brand new $4 million facility that we just opened up 5 months ago. So it's too early for us to assess, our success rate is, but we have not, I think we've had one, since we opened, we think we've had one person relapse. So we're doing pretty good.
Really?
Yeah. We have a great staff. We have a really, really good staff, and a lot of people will say, well, I got the best staff in the country. Well, I don't know how they assess that. How do you assess if you got the best staff? All I know is my staff really do great work.
Really does great work. And then in the rehab, I know you can't give out any secrets, but
Sure.
a lot of people think, there two different thoughts. Rehab is like you put on, like I know this one place used to make you wear a diaper if you got caught smoking a cigarette, or just completely humiliate you
Yeah.
like a prison. Okay.
Yeah.
And the studies have done, and it said in prison where they worked you like that and beat you every day. As soon as you got out, you were like a wild dog out of a cage.
Yeah.
You're going to go get even and go get back. The nicer you are to someone, I don't mean sexual assault on a child or a guy that beats a woman or those kind of scum like that. I don't care if they beat them every day. But normal people, the nicer you are to them, the better they do. So the idea of the rehab where, they make you carry around this 6-foot cigarette, I'm a butthole, it says, or something, that's gone.
Yeah.
So
now,
a lot of your how many days, how long is the course that they go through before?
Well, it really depends upon what they're using. Our program consists of a detox,
Okay.
which is usually anywhere from 7 to 10 days, and then they would step down to our residential program, plus our substance abuse residential. Plus, we also have a mental health residential program as well.
Good.
So the usually the length of stay is around 30 to 40 days for us, and what we do is
Oh, that's not bad, huh?
No, our whole program is based upon integrity and dignity. And I know the programs you're describing back in the 50s and the 60s, there were a lot of programs that adhere to that kind of.
This is Hawaii last year.
punitive.
No.
Yeah.
This is Pier 1 in Colorado last year, really.
Yeah. Wow. But we don't do that. We treat people with dignity and respect. And, a person's got to want to be in recovery. And we say
Right.
that over and over and over again. If they're not ready to be in recovery, that's when they're going to relapse.
Right.
They're going to come in, they're going to go, walk through the program and not really get anything.
Right.
But once they've convinced themselves, I'm ready to get true recovery, they're going to get it. We're going to give it to them.
Well, I notice I've arrested over 8,000 people, and I have seen guys, like I boot the door and they just took a load. They just took a hit of whatever, shot it up, sucked it up, spit it up, snorted it,
Yep.
stuck it up their locale. And once they get off, they're like, "Dog, I need rehab."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh, really?"
Yeah.
And then when they come down, they're like, "Oh, I'm okay."
Right.
So I was amazed that the higher they get, the more they want off.
Yeah.
Isn't that's
Yeah.
amazing?
Well.
So if you're high right now and you want rehab, call us and let's get you in it quick
Yeah.
before you come down.
Absolutely. We sure can do a good job for
So
people.
what's the worst drug right now in America as far as
Well,
most
the worst
addictive?
one, heroin is always really bad, but the worst one that hit the street in the past couple of years is fentanyl.
Fentanyl.
And it's just really, really bad because a very small dosage of heroin can kill you.
Yeah.
I'm talking about a really small dose.
Right.
You can mainline, some heroin and stuff like that, but you use fentanyl and you use too much, you're gone. There's nothing you can do to stop it.
Well, the heroin countries that make it, that sell it to America, as you know, are putting fentanyl in the heroin now.
Absolutely.
You know why? I know a guy. I won't say the name of the guy, but what is it called? When they give you a shot.
Oh, yeah, they give an IV intravenous.
No, it's when you're ODing on heroin.
Narcan?
Narcan. The Narcan doesn't work on fentanyl.
The scary thing about Narcan is what Narcan does is that when they give you the Narcan, it brings you out of the induced drug inducement. But what the problem is that what the normal addict doesn't realize is that they bring you out of the Narcan, but it doesn't get it out of your system.
Oh.
So what happens is the addict is all of a sudden wakes up, they're doing better, and the next thing that happens, they say, "Oh, wow, I'm really good." And they leave, and they go out, and they use again. And what happens is the drugs that they originally used is still in their system.
Right.
They go and they use again because they felt the Narcan rid of everything.
Right.
Now they got double the drugs in their system, and then they wind up overdosing a second time in a very immediate future, and that's dangerous.
Yeah, and if I was a drug dealer or a drug manufacturer, I would want to make something where the person lived. I can't believe that whoever made fentanyl, and they made it, they say, to kill people. I mean, it is. But so fentanyl is bad. Of course, methamphetamine,
Absolutely.
heroin.
Methamphetamine because it's cheap to make. You make it in your bathtub.
Yeah, like crank, or
Yeah.
you're saying meth.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
very
it used
cheap
to be,
make.
you'd had propanol and all that. Nowadays, you can, it's bathtub crank, they call
Oh
it.
yeah, it's so cheap.
Yeah. So now, as far as, so your place is somewhere where they can go, they can get reasons to stop. For instance, anybody besides, there was one man that never dialed a wrong phone number.
Right.
He never jaywalked. He never did a drug, and his name was Jesus. Okay,
Right.
the rest of us are damned.
Right.
I mean, we're born into sin. We're born into that. So any of us us can be put in a position or a situation where we're going to get high.
Could be, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't care. Boy, I'm half Apache. You give me some whiskey and tequila, and I'm riding a white horse.
Right.
And I'm telling you, so that's why I do not drink. But I didn't have to go to rehab to understand what made me go one step over the line, sweet Jesus. I figured it out myself because so what we do, what you do, is you help them figure out where in my dad died. Okay, when you start thinking about that all the time, how he died, maybe he choked to death and laid in that hospital bed, jerking all around for 25 minutes, and you watched him die. Well, if you just say, my daddy passed away and he's in heaven with Jesus, instead of going through and he jerked all around and he had his feet in there, and that's going to make you get high. Yeah. So what you guys do is not, you don't hypnotize, but you tell the client or the brother, sister, what's going to get them to get high. Now, here's what you don't want to do.
Right.
Look in the mirror with one like that and see your bald spot. Oh, shit, I need a load. Yeah. Don't get high.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Don't you teach them how to do that besides how to wake up and eat in a good way. Right. There's so many things you do.
Right.
Okay, so do you approve of, quiet on the set, do you approve of any drug that some people, and we might cut this part, some people need a crutch. I don't care who they are. Is there any drug that's legal right now that if they try it, maybe to go to sleep or to calm down, that you would, where I'm going, and that is marijuana?
Yeah.
And like I say, we may cut this part. I've dealt 42 years with these guys. I put 40 to 60-year-old, because that's all, I've never seen an old junkie, have you? On pot. I had a guy call me the other day, and he said, brother dog, I'm going to whoop your okole when I see you. And I said, why? Bosco, I look like this guy's lunch walking next to him, right? And he said, you ruined my life with crime. And, brother, and I'm just doing the Hawaiian accent, brother, I smoke 4 or 5 joints a day. And I'm like, and? Because I told him, Bosco, what's making you like that is that speed. If you'll smoke a joint, you want to eat, have sex, and go to sleep, Bosco. All of us, you can have sex more, eat more, and sleep more, send me the drug, I'm doing it. That's what I told him. I put him on the pot. 1 year now, he hasn't touched a load at all of meth. And he told me, bud, I had one Twinkie last night. I had sex and went to sleep by 9:30. Now, Twinkie in Hawaii doesn't mean a Twinkie like in the mainland.
Sure.
He ate. He had sex and he went to sleep because he's hooked on that. So some places will be like, oh, if we don't want you to roll a joint to your facility, bring it in and let's have a powwow. But you're not there to stop the marijuana guy, right? Is that right? Or easy Italian? Easy Italiano.
No, I'm going to be really honest with you. I mean, there's different points of opinion in regards to the utilization of marijuana. We adhere to the philosophy of total abstinence. All right. And the reason for that is because historically we have seen that, if you don't, it can lead to you can smoke, or we've seen people say, look, I was using heroin. Some guy says, well, I can have a drink. I can have a drink once in a while. I can have a glass of wine with dinner, but that's not the case. Right. The reality is that the brain responds to those things that create the high within your system, and so you can't do weed, you can't do drink. We believe in total abstinence, and what we try to do is we try to detox them. Right. And then as part of the detox protocol, and as they step down to residential, we try to take a look at, okay, what are the precipitants that brought you to be using? And what is precipitant? It could be anything from, a lot of people, they get hooked on opiates because they've gone to a pain doctor, and the pain doctor presents opiates, and they use more and more and more. Right. Some could be just like you're saying, my dad died, my mom died, my dad abused me, right. And I think of those things, and that's what makes me drink. It's a precipitant of what causes him to drink or use alcohol drugs. That's why we believe in total abstinence. Now, there are other programs that don't believe that, and I'm not saying they're bad programs. Right. It's just ours believes in total abstinence. Well, I live with my new Francie, is my new going-to-be wife very soon, and she's the same way.
You know, that's it. You ain't drinking, you ain't smoking pot, you ain't doing nothing, you ain't cursing, you ain't doing this, you do all these ain't doings.
Yeah.
And I feel much better and I feel good. So you can't roll a joint, bring it to your place, and after you're done, listen, smoke one. So I want that made clear.
Yeah.
Even though marijuana, where your place is at, is legal in a lot of states.
Yeah, medical marijuana.
Yeah, medical, you know. So, okay, so then how do they get a hold of you?
What they do, there's an 800 9, we have a website.
What's your 800? 800? Call Fred?
Actually, what they're going to do is, I'll edit this. What they're going to do is if they want more information, they go to agentsofrecovery.com. That's our.
Okay, ready?
That's the portal.
I'll say
So,
that.
what is your? How do we get a hold of you? And are you available? Do you have a cell phone?
Oh, yes.
So, how do we get a hold of you?
Well, people are going to reach out to Agents in Recovery. That's the group that we're working with.
Agentsinrecovery.com.
And they'll be
And
able
that's
to-
on the computer, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, see, I don't know. One thing goes in the, what is it called? The OO cloud, the F cloud, the I cloud. And it's there
One
forever.
of those clouds.
It's the damn Republicans, and it's there forever.
Yeah.
So, is there a phone number or some? You know, sometimes I don't want to write it and admit it in writing. My lawyer, sometimes I go eat, I tell my lawyer, look at the menu. So I don't want to. Is there a number?
Phone number's on the screen.
Okay.
Phone number's on the screen.
And so good.
Yeah.
And so the phone number's on the screen. So
Right.
I can call you with a mask on, so
Yeah.
you don't know it's me.
Yeah.
And you'll never know. And then I can also email you.
Yes,
So because
absolutely.
I'm going to say the word us, okay? Some of us, even though it's been a lifetime since I got high, and I didn't have the problems, you know, that I think we didn't have the drugs that there is today back in the 60s. But if me doing it, I'd like to make a phone call
Sure.
instead of putting it in writing again, so
Sure.
they can call you
Or they can-
or go to the internet and get a hold of you
Well, and they can go
through
on
the
that
website.
website. They go on that website, and within a very short period of time, someone's going to call them back.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And then can you say, do not, like if grandma or the husband, now, real quick, because we're
Sure.
almost out of time.
Sure.
A lot of times the husband does it, the wife does it too. You know, you can, it's like 70%, ain't it? Even if the girl's like, I've never done that. Yeah, well, after he does it a couple of years,
Yeah.
you're going to go, why, what is it
Yep.
that he loves this stuff more than me? I got to try it, right?
Yep.
So, how do we, if we put on the website, because a lot of people, our wives check our phones and da-da-da, so we can, please keep this private.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So we can say that to you.
Yes, absolutely.
Because, you know, I've been to places where I go, stand up right now, raise your hand if you do drugs, right? Nobody does. Nobody puts their hand up.
Right.
If I do the old preacher thing, every eye closed and every head bowed.
Yeah.
How many of you are doing drugs? Half the room puts their hand up. So people, they embarrasses them.
Sure.
So we don't want it. Your place won't embarrass us.
No.
Okay, so we go through this thing, we get healed, or we're on the way to healing. Then do we get a certificate?
Oh, yeah.
Do we get a trophy? What we get?
Well, we do a lot of things. We give you a certificate. Plus, the big thing in recovery is a coin, and you get a
Okay.
coin, and the coin is symbolic of the fact that you've completed the program. And what happens is that normally what you do is there's a group of all the people that are in the treatment, and they
Okay.
pass that coin around from one to another to
Okay.
another, and give you a positive affirmation about you and what they've seen in the progress that you've made. It's very, very powerful.
Oh, really? And I'm like, somebody. I always say I'm done. Like the preacher says, run on ever-ready batteries, or when's he
Yeah.
going to shut up?
Yeah.
But another question. So
I'm
how?
only in terms of confidentiality, we are bound by federal law. So if you call into that number or you text that number, we're bound by confident. We cannot disclose that to anybody else that you've closed. So your information and your contact is strictly between you and us, nobody else.
And then what? Now, a lot of people over 60 are hooked.
And a lot more since the COVID has started.
Yes. So when someone that is an addict that's over 60 sits in a room with everybody 25, they feel like caca.
Sometimes.
So what age groups do you go from? 18, of course, to...
And as old as they.
And what is the highest age group that's needs
we
help?
have we have treated people in their 70s. you know.
So the highest is like 20 something, 30 something, 40.
No, we treat them from 18 all the way into their 70s.
So it doesn't matter what age you are. If you're, if you're hitting wine, 20 time glasses a day and you're 73, you need to get in there. And then you're not allowed to say this will heal you. Or there's laws, so many laws about everything. But you're not allowed to say this will heal you. I guarantee you that, you're not allowed to say things. So what do we say that we can guarantee parents and my brothers and sisters that need help? What will your place do that Dr. Phil won't do?
Well, it's very simple. A person that goes through our program and is successful in going through our program, their continuous success is based upon the amount of time they're able to continue to maintain their sobriety.
Okay.
And that's measured. A person's sobriety date is from the date they graduate from the program. I have people who are at 30 and 35 years in recovery that still call me. And to this day, they go to a meeting every single day.
Right.
And that's what happens. You learn the skills that you need to do. You need to practice those skills. And go to meetings and go to counseling if you need it, and that's what keeps you sober. And every year is your sobriety date. And every year, this weekend I had a fellow that was in treatment with me about 11 years ago, and he called us. I'm celebrating my 11th year. You're in remission. Okay, you're in remission. It's does a cancer patient ever completely have rid themselves of cancer? Yes, there are some. But there are some cancers that the best you can hope for is that they stay in remission.
Right.
It's the same thing with addiction. You want to try to stay in remission. And the only way you can do that is by practicing a good 12-step program, because that's what we believe in.
Right. Well, and how am I going to say this?
Yeah, let's get to a wrap now.
I'm trying to think of. Okay, we did the number. We did that.
I can say something else.
Yes, sir.
I think the other thing that what we've learned is that there are a lot of things, impactors, that impacts a person's addiction. And once you get the detox through, a lot of times you find there are a lot of psychiatric and psychological and mental health problems associated with that.
Yes.
Now there are a lot of places where we treat dual diagnosis. Well, yeah, we treat dual diagnosis, but we also go one step further. We have the ability through our license to treat primary mental health problems in our residential program. We have a specialized residential program for psychiatric and mental health problems. So we've learned a lot of things over the years, and it's still a very young science. We have still so much to learn. But inroads are being made, and we think we have a good program.
Good. And the final thing, we all think about, like I said, the cost.
Right.
I guarantee you, I looked at your program, it's cheaper to go to your place and get on the road to recovery, stop doing dope.
Yep.
Than it is to buy dope every day.
That's huge.
You're spending more money, these guys, buying girls, buying dope every day than they are to come to your place and at least get a seed planted on how to be able to stop.
Right. I agree with you. I mean, it's the cost of drugs is astronomical, and a lot of people can't afford it on a daily basis, and what happens is they resort to crime.
Well, they have to. They got to steal the deal. That's the name of the game.
Yep, and you've seen that in your career. I know you have.
And then you go to a cell 6x8 and ball all night long, eat crock of food, have to fight for your own sexuality, and if you like that, just keep on trucking.
Yeah.
All right, nice to meet you, brother.
Doug, it was a pleasure.
Thank you, sir. My pleasure.
So much,
Love
man.
you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, my friend.
Aloha.